Now that we've had some practice with setting up a box and whisker plot and understanding how we create them and what goes into that, now we're going to work on interpreting them. And we are going to start by setting ourselves up for success. We are not going to answer any of these questions until we do our part first, which is to identify our quartiles, identify all of our medians, and we start that, if you remember, by jotting down the percentages along the bottom, which is also going to help us answer some of these questions. But we start with the percentages because remember, our box and whisker plot is chopped up, broken up into 4 parts, and each part is called a quartile, right? Quartile, we said, sounded really similar to a quarter, which we're all familiar with, and we know that 1 quartile equals 25%. And well, you guys, 1 quarter equals 25 cents. So this is going to help us set everything up, just leaning on what we know. Okay, this whole box and whisker plot represents 100% of our data. So we're going to start at 0%, and then we're going to end at 100%. All right, so 100%, then we have 25%, 50%, and 75%. And this helps us to determine which quartile is the first one, because generally we're like, oh, the first one's going to be, where we start. But that's not the case for a box and whisker plot. So that percentage can help us remember that 1 quartile is worth 25% because 1 quarter is worth 25 cents. 2 quarters are worth 50 cents. 3 quarters are worth 75 cents, and 4 quarters are worth 100 pennies, or a whole dollar. So we've got our Q2, our second quartile, is our overall median, and we can abbreviate overall median. And then we have our lower median, Q1, our upper median, Q3, and then we simply just have our highest point here. Okay. All right, now from this, we're going to answer our questions. And doing this one little part that really didn't take too terribly long, we are going to be able to efficiently move through our questions because we actually already did most of the work. Our first question, what is the median? Well, you guys, we just figured it out. That's Q2, 50% of our data. That number is 20. Boom. What number represents the lower quartile? Well, that's 18, right? Q1, lower quartile, 25%. What number represents the upper quartile? Well, that's Q3, 75%, which that's not exact, but for today, we'll say it's 22. Okay, our next question, what is the minimum value? All right, that's our little whisker out here, so that's 17. What is the maximum value? Well, that's our big whisker all the way out here, and if we look, well, it's right past 23, so we can either write it as a decimal or a fraction. Let's see, it's broken up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to leave this as a fraction. I don't really want to work with 1/6 as a decimal. So 23 and 1/6. That's nice. What is the interquartile range? What is the interquartile range? Ooh, this is a good one. I love this question. Interquartile. I'm going to grab a new color. Interquartile. I want you to put a box around interquartile because interquartile is a fancy word meaning for the box. So basically, we want to find the range of the box, the interquartile. That is this. We want to find the range of the stuff that's inside. And so our interquartile goes from our upper quartile to our lower quartile. So that goes from 22 to 17. Let's just double check, make sure I got the right numbers. Yeah, 22 to 17. And again, it's the range of the box. The range of the box. How many data points are there in the middle of the box? And so that would give us 5, right? 22 minus 17 gives us 5. That would be our answer for that one. But interquartile means the box. Say it out loud. Interquartile means the box. Interquartile means the box. Okay. Very important to distinguish that because our next question is about range, but I want the range of all of the data. And so that means from our littlest point to our biggest point. I said that backwards. Our littlest point would be 17. So that means we need 23 and 1/6 minus, you guys, did anybody catch that? I totally goofed. I marked 18 earlier. No, but did anybody catch that? I hope you did. I marked 18 for the smallest of the box, but I wrote down 17. Dun, dun, dun. Everybody goofs. That's why we got to work together and help each other. So the interquartile range is actually just 4. Interquartile, the range of the box, 18 to 22, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. And we can even do the same thing with the range of the whole thing from 17 to 23 and 1/6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then that little extra would give us 1/6. Right? We're going to see the same thing here. 1/6 minus 0 is just 1/6, and 23 minus 17 is 6 and 1/6. There we are. Cool. All right, let's take a peek at our next question. What percentage of the data is below the upper quartile? Well, let's see. Our upper quartile is right here at the 75% mark. So the percentage that's below it, it's going to be our bottom 75%. So what percentage is below? It's going to be 75%. Some might argue 74%, but we are counting up to that 75% mark, so it'd be 75%. What percentage of the data is located between the lower quartile and the median? Well, we know that the lower quartile is 25% and the median is 50%. And so that is 25%, right? To go from 25% to 50% is 25%. What percentage of the data is above the median? Well, let's think about it. The median represents 50% of our data. So if we want all the stuff that's above it, right, it's that top half of our data, which would be 50%. And we can see that because we've got 1 quartile, 2 quartiles, 25%, 25%, for a total of 50%. Okay, so just looking at all the little kind of different, different ins and outs of our box and whisker plot. But the most important thing before we analyze any data is to set ourselves up for success first. Those questions went rather quickly because we did that little bit of work to get us set up. Start by writing down your percentages, starting with 0, ending at 100. And remember that connection. 1 quartile is worth 25%. 1 quarter is worth 25 cents. And using that connection to what we know to help us sort this out over